You have a phone. Your phone is tied to your bank account and your SIN number and all your ID. It's already there. That's why when you go to. What's why when you go to start a new account, you have to use your cell phone number.
Oh, jeez, I didn't know.
Yeah, I agree. You can't fight it. It doesn't matter what you fucking do. It doesn't matter who you block, Matt. I'm not attacking you, Matt. But I'm just saying, it doesn't matter who you block. It doesn't matter what you do. They have every single angle covered.
But even during the pandemic, I heard that the Canada Health was tracking 33 million Canadian phones without our knowledge to see if we were following the mandates about where we're going and not going and blah blah blah.
They're tracking us. That's why That's why I kept always turning my GPS off.
And I even heard Tim Hortons was friggin' tracking people's phones.
Yeah, because they have the Wi-Fi that connects to your phone. That's why they have in Toronto. I drove right after the pandemic. Right after the convoy in February, or maybe was it March or February? I went to Toronto, and they have the cell towers right beside the off ramp, just like a checkpoint. So when you go and stop, when you're going to pull up to a set of lights coming off the highway, and you see one there, they're pinging your phone. They know exactly where you're going.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that Tim Hortons and McDonald's and all that have free Wi-Fi.
That's right.
I guess it's better to turn off your Wi-Fi and just use your data for the app or something if you want points.
Right.
I don't really think it matters what you do. Honestly,
points things.
Yeah, they're tracking
the points. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Injection are tracked with a Mac ID. Oh shit, Roxy, I guess we're being tracked.
Oh well.
Oh fuck.
If you want me, I'm right here. Come get me.
So yeah, I worked on that account for a year and a half. I'm really sad to lose it. I had a lot of videos on there, but hey, I guess it's all new start. Maybe I'll stop talking about political stuff and I'll go back to inventing, and then I'll fucking flip the script once they get big on that again.
There you go.
So my buddy, he's a big yellow vester, and he went to France twice. And his Facebook page was basically his journal.
Mine too.
Yeah, and you guys remember back in 2020, 2021, when they nuked a whole bunch of accounts, including my two. And they nuked his account, and he was so fucking pissed because everything was documented. His Facebook account was basically his journal, and it was all gone.
We were just talking about that, Charlie. We're literally just saying it. So I don't know what you're laughing at.
Funny people with cell phones being worried about being tracked. Well, I mean, they're tracking you. What they do with that information is another story.
I don't think we're gonna like what the 15-minute cities are gonna be. If they're already harvesting people, it's just gonna be a free for all for them.
Exactly.
You can't hide from them. They even know when we go to the bathroom, for God's sake.
What guns? I got no guns.
Watch that word, buddy.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah.
What pew pews?
Don't say so sorry to me.
Yeah, I didn't think
pew pews? I've got no pew pews. You lucky fucker.
I don't have pew pews.
Well, that's your name, right?
If I did have a pew pew, I'm not telling you. I'll let it
Well, lucky fucker, be careful what you say, right? I mean, you made me fucking say it.
Don't
fucker.
use bad words.
Right?
Fuck,
Man,
you feel bad.
10,000 freaking followers. I gotta go back to like watching like my videos go up like 100 at a time rather than 1,000 at a time.
Yeah, it's a little disheartening, isn't it?
Then again, I worked on Facebook for 15 years and have 2,754 followers, and only 3 to 5 people ever see my stuff there too. So, you know,
I find every time I get a few followers, I lose a few.
And I was downgraded to for 90 days, people not like less views of people seeing my content. So
Me too. And the minute I put something controversial on, boom, people, my videos start going out again.
hey Charlie, I think I'm gonna steal that for my first video. Give it a shot. We'll have a race. See who gets the bigger numbers. Man, this sucks because I like had people in my DMs that were wanting to like help with websites and like shit.
Well, all I can say is that I got a second account, so
I do too.
I think I just have the one. I gotta make another.
Yeah, you better start. You're gonna lose all your friends. Well, it's a good thing we all have people that we remember. But it sucks because I had 700 freaking people in my room 2 days ago. Like, and today, and since that one live, it's been dead.
You'll get back there.
Yeah, but they throttled me. Anyways, I think I'm gonna go piss off some Masons.
One that
yeah,
window.
because when I get bored, that's exactly what I do.
Yeah. That actually might be the problem because they're all like they're yeah they can't even argue with me anymore. They try to gish gallop me. I went at them today because
I've seen that earlier a little bit, Matt.
Yeah, I have 4 accounts they blocked. So yeah. Luckily, I saved my last one that had the video ban on for last, so that way they just banned it right away. Yeah. Yeah, so they like put words in my mouth constantly. They would say that I was saying something like I never said that. Who I like? Does anybody in the panel want to say that I said that? Because I didn't recall saying it, and none of them would actually admit it because they knew that the people in the comments would have said something.
Yep. Yeah, they do that in my live all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. I know. Yes, I do understand the game well. I've been learning how to play it more and more now that I don't take the psychological warfare. Yeah. All right. Well, have fun, guys. Don't forget to follow this new account.
All right, Matt. I got you followed, buddy. I think I already followed you. Yes, I already followed you.
And I'll just follow people when I go through and see that they followed me.
Yeah, I'm already following you, Matt. So.
All right.
I got you.
All right.
Yeah, I am too.
Well, loyalist, it might look like you'll win after all, buddy.
Like I what?
I said, well, loyalist, it looked like you'll win after all. If I have no numbers to get my word out, how am I ever gonna implement the things that I want? And it's getting worse. They keep locking me up, and I keep figuring out a way to tweak myself back out because there's a little loophole here or there, and they keep putting me back in, and they're telling me to shut the fuck up, and I'm not listening.
Well, I'll say right off the bat, man, it's
been nice knowing you.
I don't feel like I'm winning anything. It's literally
I'm being facetious.
got nothing to do with that, man. Like
I'm being facetious, man.
Yeah, no, I know, but like, just a word of advice, like, with your accounts and stuff, I know it's really hard, and I've said it many times that we have to try and be a little bit more careful with our accounts and stuff like that, of course, because give an inch, they'll take a mile, right?
Yeah.
And it's like honestly, I've heard you speak about many things for many months now. There's lots that I agree with, and all I would say is like when it comes to the numbers and stuff, like I haven't actually done even one of my own lives since I think it was last December, right at the end of last year. And of course, I come into the rooms and stuff like that. And even to date, I've never actually even had a guest on my lives. I think the most I had in one room at one time was like 2,800, just over 2,800 people. And I've had lives where I've literally had 2 or 3. But
You had 2,800 people.
yeah, in the live, like actually in the room at one time, just over 2,800.
That's pretty good.
That's unusual.
Yeah, no, it was out of the ordinary. Like where I was kind of, I guess you could say like the average lives when I was on, I guess a busier time, I would get an average of between say 200 and 350. And then there would be a lot of times where I would do a live. I'd still talk about the same stuff that I talk about and regurgitate all the time. And there would be 2 or 3. There's even quite a few times there was only one person. And hey, if that individual actually is interested in sticking around and listening to things like you and me and many others of us have to talk about, for all we know, that one seed that we planted might be the strongest plant out of all the seeds we've been planting over the years, months, and so on, And like, of course, when we're trying to spread positive information and education and stuff like that, and especially regarding movements or trying to get people excited to start thinking about new and better ideas and stuff like that, it's, of course, with the higher numbers, common sense kind of says, okay, well, that's kind of what we're looking for. We want to keep doubling and tripling and quadrupling and getting a lot more people involved with ideologies and actually working together, right? Like, I think that's one of the main goals that almost most of us have. And it's, I think it's literally, long story short, man, it's whether you got 3 people in your room, 30 people in your room, 300 or even 3,000 or more, if any of us are lucky to get that many people to stick around and listen, it's all important. Because in 5 years from now, maybe those 500 or those 5,000 people that you've actually helped grow those seeds with those individuals, in 5 or 10 years from now, that could be the trickle effect of 50,000, 500,000, 5 million people. So don't think for a second, you or anyone else, that what you're talking about, what you're doing is being minusculized by only having a small amount of people in the rooms or events or when you're talking to them. It's keep talking what you're talking and keep spreading the positivity and the positive message of the ideologies. And you know what, like when it's spread with truth, integrity, and basic common sense, it's just a matter of time before multiple dreams or ideologies are going to come to fruition.
It's not about the numbers, it's how many you can reach within those numbers.
Yeah, but in order to change the world, you need many people to listen. So I'm not trying to change Canada. I'm trying to change the world. I want the world free from this cabal, and they don't like that. And this is literally what I've been trying to do for 15 years. And I've been blacklisted. I've been shadow banned. I've worked my ass off. I've got like 15 groups on Facebook. I admin like for another 15 to 20 people, and I can't have anybody see anything anymore. And even people who I thought were in like to help make the world a better place, they're all tuned right into the matrix. They won't listen. Like they're just.
Well, they're scared, man. They're scared too.
That's a big part of it.
Twilight Zone. But I tried to warn them about this 15 years ago, and they wouldn't listen to me. And now we're here, And it's literally like I saw this shit coming where we're either could have went to like utopia or we could have went here. And when I say I don't care if people don't like the fucking thought of utopia, I want utopia. If you don't like that, then get lost. Because the alternative is this shit.
Matt, let me ask you
Yeah.
something. I was wondering, since you've been obviously awake for 15 years,
Longer. I've been awake since I was a little boy. I'd ask my mom questions. Why do things run like this? Why do things function like that? That's just the way how it is, Matt. Well, why is it like that? Matt, it's just the way how it is. But mom, this doesn't make sense. Just shut up. This just accept it.
wow, so you've been awake for a long time. Wow.
I learned what I started questioning things after I was abused as a kid sexually, and then I saw what money did. I got spanked when I was 5 years old because I stole a $50 bill from my mom. I walked to the Giant Tiger to buy a 25-cent chocolate candy. There were little squares with caramel inside with a Hershey symbol on top, and I couldn't understand why am I getting spanked for paper. So I just thought that it looked pretty because it was red. But you wanted to ask me a question about the 15 years thing.
Do you have siblings?
I have a sister. She's a teacher and she's completely into the Matrix.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I have no one in my family I can talk to about this stuff. I've got, like, this is the only place that I have that's home that I'm accepted for the stuff that I know and not looked at as like a piece of shit. And then I had people try to treat me like one because I knew what I knew, and individuals were too dumb and they were jealous.
Well, that's why I like coming into like Elvis's live, because there's people that are on the same page as me. A couple of my friends are not. My sister and brother, pretty well. Well, they became awakened in 2020 when they were trying to push the jabs. But I like to come on here because sometimes there's no one to talk about this stuff.
Right.
Hey, Anna. Yeah, a lot of people are scared to talk about it. They fear that they're going to be blacklisted or blackballed or black sheep.
Some
I
people
mean,
just
look
don't
at
wanna know.
what's that, Roxanne?
Some people just don't want to know the truth.
No, they want to remain ignorant. Sometimes, you know what, guys, I got to be honest with you. Sometimes I want to be ignorant. I mean, I can't unsee now, but I can't unsee what I've seen and what I've talked about. But man, there's days where I like, fuck, I want to be like those other people. I envy them because they can just totally ignore everything that's going on around them. I mean, I don't think that's a good thing.
Imagine what it's like to all the others that have no clue that this is going on and they just become good. They're just good slaves to the system their whole life. They contribute. They manipulate the economy so that way they have less money. So that way by the time that they go to retire, times aren't as easy as what they should be. Like example, like how food is doubled in price. They're just literally soaking they're leeching everybody dry, and no one's willing to do anything to stand up to them anymore. They've broken us all.
You know, again, if you look back in history, you've got people like us, and then you've got people like them. And usually, what happens is people are absolutely broke and destitute until they do something.
Or they just give up and they huddle in a corner and say, "Okay, what do you want me to do?"
That too. But then there are people that when they're faced with nothing and they got nothing to lose, they fucking lose it.
Yeah, but then that's also what they want too. They don't want like I keep saying, we could have just solved this. If people would have if I was able to show people what I saw coming 15 years ago, it would have taken me 5 years to get to the point if people would have helped me. But I had people constantly following me around saying that I'm a con artist, I'm a cult leader, I'm a charlatan. Every single negative label they could use on me, and people would take it.
Yep.
I just want to be free. That's all I want.
I think a lot of people want to be free.
That's all we all want.
So, anyways,
All we
guys,
can do is
I
keep
need to
trying.
go change my energy level. I gotta go piss
All
off
right, Matt.
some fucking Masons. I'm gonna have fun with this, or maybe I'll go piss off some Globies.
All right. All right, man.
Good luck.
All right.
Have a good night, Matt.
You too.
See you,
Take
Matt.
care, guys.
You too. Well, that's
Wow.
not surprising, but disappointing at the same time.
I'm surprised it lasted this long.
Yep.
Well, you know,
Well,
Howard,
who's that lady out in Alberta? A young lady. I think she came from Croatia or something, and she's got a TikTok channel with about 100,000 people on it.
Tajana.
Tangent?
Tajana, yeah, yeah. I mean, hers. I think her original one got nuked. I don't know if she got it back or not, but I mean, her numbers climbed again. But she did get one of her accounts banned.
She's the blonde one, right?
Yes, she
Yep.
is.
I seen one of her videos. She said she was thinking about moving and leaving.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah. Here, okay. So I'm on her account right now. She's got about 137,000 followers.
Wow.
I love her videos.
Me
Yeah.
too. Because she's funny. She tells the truth, but she also does it in a funny way.
And she's very
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. Very smart. Hey, Monty. You've got people on here that you think they're your friends, but really they're not. I mean, so I mean, there's spies everywhere.
It's very hard to tell who's genuine and who's not.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what makes it hard.
Yep.
Well, last year, one of my friends, not TikTok friend, a real friend, she was about to break up the friendship of almost 30 years. Part of was there's different reasons I'm not going into, but one of the first, when I went over to talk to her about it to see if we were still going to be friends, one of the first things out of her mouth was about my conspiracy theories that I post on Facebook.
Yep.
So,
That's why I don't add a single friend on my TikTok accounts. None of my friends know I'm even on TikTok.
well, I mean, she knows I have a TikTok account. Actually, her son follows me, and he's not vaxxed. He knows enough not to get it. And sometimes I go out just to talk to him because he says he can't really talk to his own mother about these things. Although the last time I was over at her place, which was for Thanksgiving dinner, I did want her not to take the new jabs. And I told her that I think 2 nurses that used to work where I work died of cancer because of the turbo cancers, because of what Dr. William Macca says. And her response to that was, well, I have lower back problems. Hopefully it's not cancer, but if I die, then I'll just go see my mom. Because her mom died in January last year. That's where I got sick from, because there's a bunch of people who were from New Brunswick there, and I think I got shed upon. So a bunch of them got sick. That was the only unvaxxed one that had to go to hospital, though, and they keep reminding me of that. But I told them that I have other health issues that was probably part of the reason. That's why
At
I'm just
least they remind you of that?
thinking.
Some
So
people think it's shitty.
you're the only unvaxxed person that was in the hospital. None of the other ones that got sick went to hospital. Yeah, I get reminded of that. Yeah.
That's a shitty friend.
Yeah, that is. I'll tell you this much. What we talk about on here, I don't talk about at work unless the person's on the same page as me,
Yeah, same here.
or else I won't talk about it. I won't. I won't even talk about anything. Usually, actually, they'll bring it up to me, but I won't even bring it up to them because you know what? You create enemies, man. People think you're crazy. Again, they call you conspiracy theorists and all this other shit, man. They really blackball you.
I've been called all of it, so I just stopped talking.
Although my friend said she won't give me the new jabs. I told her they're making it sound like they're new ones, but they got the same shit in it as the last ones. And I told her about Dr. William Mackus, who just got back on Twitter this past year, and she said, I'm not taking any more. And I said, I'm glad to hear that. So we didn't keep going on about it. I just wanted to let her know.
Well, speaking of vax and boosters, so a friend of mine was one of these guys that bought into it, and just recently he left to go visit his daughter, and I guess on the way back he got COVID, and this guy took, I'm not kidding you, I think he took up to four shots in total.
I'm
Yep.
scared they're going to try to make me take another one before I go into surgery.
Yep, he already took you too.
That wouldn't stop them. If they do, I won't be having it.
Well, not to add craziness to the numbers, but to this day, I think I know personally 9 individuals that actually caught COVID that weren't vaccinated. The mass majority of people I know that did get COVID were absolutely vaccinated up to date.
Mm-hmm.
My neighbor got it and he wasn't vaccinated, but you know what? He was barely sick.
Well, and I mean, like, people can throw whatever numbers, whatever documentation that they want, but when you're witnessing, and we're not just talking one case or 10 cases or 1,000 cases, even millions of us experience the exact same damn thing.
I got it after I had two shots.
And I had a cousin that passed away out east, but and he had his shots. He had underlying conditions, but he was only, I believe, I think he had just turned 55.
Well, loyalist, I've been sick. I'm prone to chest infections. I have been all my life. I was a preemie and I have asthma, and I got scar tissue in my lungs from being sick so many times in my life, and I think that contributed to it. Plus, I'm not an ideal weight. I need to shed a few
Well, and you
pounds,
most likely had a weakened immune system as well, right?
and then I also have diabetes, which when I read an article from the Epoch Times on people who die from COVID, um, and I was a blink of an eye away from dying. That's what my doctor told me. Every time I got an email from the hospital, he was afraid it would say I died. I was the only severe patient of his that died, that didn't die, that survived. But I think part of that was their protocol, hospital protocol, which is meant to hurt people and make them not be in this world anymore, is remdesivir, and I refused remdesivir, and I am and I do believe in God, and a lot of people were praying for me. So I think between that and not taking remdesivir is the reason I survived, because remdesivir kills the kidneys in 40% of people who take it, and it hurts the heart and liver as well. And I knew enough not to take it. So I bet you the other severe patients all took it because they didn't know any better. Or I knew it was bad. So when they offered it, I said no. And I made sure my sister knew, and she was the power of attorney for my health. So.
Interesting.
And then I got a cold in May. So I got out of the hospital February 8th. I got a head cold in May, but I got over that in like 3 or 4 days, and it was only a head cold, so just a normal cold. And I had to shut my friends up that say, well, you should have taken the vax. Well, I got immunity testing, which I had to pay for, antibody testing last last year in April, and then again this year. I asked my doctor, could you add antibody testing to my blood work? And he says, why? And I said, I just want to compare to last year. And in March of this year, my antibodies were still very strong. So I got a very strong immune system towards that. So, and I wanted to show people that I still have very strong immunity. So I'm never, aside from the fact that it's a bioweapon, I can prove to people that I have great immunity.
Yeah.
And that poor woman in Alberta, Sheila Lewis, who they wouldn't give a transplant to, she had COVID. She had immunity testing to prove that she had high immunity against it, and they still wouldn't give it to her. The bastards.
Yeah, but they'd be more than willing to take organ donations from her,
Yeah.
just like they tried with the father, the young man in Ontario.
Yeah, I
Yep.
know. I was so ticked when I heard that, and I'm glad his wife said no.
I hope the wife blasted that fucking person, like blasted him.
You know, that's grounds for suing them right there.
I think so. Yeah.
That proves.
I mean, you know, the reason they want you to, and she was up to date on all her other shots, like, you know, the polio, the whatever other childhood stuff you get. And that's the only thing she didn't have, but she had a paper proving she was immune. And, you know, but in Canada, of course, under our lovely leader, and I say that with contempt, she, you know, she could have lived otherwise, you know? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's more segregation, more discrimination.
Yep.
But we'll have many folks on that topic that would scream the exact opposite or try to twist it around to anyone that even moderately questions anything.
Oh, I know.
Absolutely.
Well,
And
with
Jerry,
this,
I got confused with. I was talking with Fern last night. There, Fern and Duke and Eves and a couple of folks for a little while last night, and I got confused with where Jerry's living, where with Fern's living. You know, you talk to so many folks and you mix stuff up, right?
Where does Jerry live?
Jerry's, I believe, close to the Quebec-Ontario border on the northern part. Probably not too far from me, maybe about 3 hours or something.
Oh, okay. Because Necktie, I think, doesn't Necktie live out Quebec? I don't remember where Necktie lives.
I can't remember either.
I think you said it was.
he's in Ottawa somewhere.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, he's in Ottawa somewhere.
He's just French.
Not in Ottawa, but around there.
Okay. And Loyalist, are you in Quebec, or I forget where you said you were from?
No, I'm up in northern Ontario from like about 3 hours north of North Bay, like closer to Cochrane.
Oh, okay.
I'm not from where I live now, but as my late grandfather used to call me, his little Canadian gypsy grandson, I've moved quite a few places across Canada.
Yeah, I've lived in Ontario all my life. I was born in Toronto, lived in Etobicoke, and then we had to move to Scarborough, and then I've never left I've never lived anywhere else but Ontario.
Like mainly the GTA, though.
Well, for a while I lived in St. Mary's, I lived in Cambridge for a while.
Oh, okay.
But I've been in Oshawa for like uh 20, like close to 30 years now.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Oshawa sure has, it's not even the same city, nowhere near what it was even 20 years ago, eh?
now when I go to the Lakeview Park, um, I feel like I'm a minority there.
Well, I don't have to explain that to any of you that live in the Southern Ontario area. Like every 5 years it changes. Like even the last time I went down there, which was last September, I think it was. And I hadn't been back in probably 7 or 8 years since I moved back north. And I was blown away. Like as you're coming in from the north, like from Barrie and stuff, it's like, okay, yeah, that used to be a farm. That used to be a farm. That used to be a farm. Okay, King City is now an actual city.
Yeah. Well, we're letting they're with all the immigration, and there's too many immigrants. I listened to Jeremy McKenzie's podcast, and he talks about like there's not enough houses for everyone. That's why rents and mortgages and everything's going up. And he says that, and even Maxime Bernier, the leader of the PPC party, says we don't have enough homes for the people that are here, whether they're been immigrants for a long time or whether they're natural born Canadians. And we need to stop all this until we can get the housing and all that sorted out for us.
Well, and you know what? You're absolutely correct. And so are these other individuals to an extent. We could close the borders tomorrow for an entire year and we would still have an absolute housing crisis.
Exactly. But it's the new people that will vote liberal, and that's why they keep bringing them in. But
Oh, yeah. And that's a very well-known fact, right? Like most groups that have came in, especially as groups, whether refugees or mass immigration in the former years, they tend to be, on the average, those folks tend to be a little bit more loyal to whatever government it was in power at the time, that they look at it like, well, this was the government that allowed me to come here and become a Canadian and build my life. If it wasn't for their approval or them being in power, then I wouldn't be here with my family. Not that that's necessarily true. The next government would have approved or whatever them most likely as well, but that's where they start their loyalty with. And we see that a lot of times, especially one of the things that the Liberals have actually worked on for many different years is that exact fact, where that's why their numbers, they've always tried to work on their numbers. So that's, nobody's talking conspiracy on that. Those are proven facts, right?
now I want to ask you a question, the list. I think I heard this, but I'm not 100% sure, so I don't want to be spreading lies. So tell me if you've heard this. That I don't know where I heard it from, or if it's true or not, or that people coming across the border or they're allowed in, they're told that they have to sign a paper saying they're going to vote Liberal. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, or I just thought I heard it. Do you know anything about that?
Okay, well, yes, I have heard that. I've actually heard that for a few years now, and I've actually reached out to inquire about that. And the only, I wouldn't even call it proof, is just word of, take my word for it kind of thing, that I've never seen any actual evidence of documentation that has to be signed. But I have heard that, take it for what it's worth kind of thing directly from actual elected Liberals, two of them to be specific, that have both told me, and this is going on almost 2 years ago, that absolutely they are encouraged. I don't know if I would say to the point of indoctrinating or grooming or anything like that, but they're absolutely encouraged to basically vote for the government that is freeing them from suppression or allowing them to immigrate here to Canada to build their new lives.
Okay, so it could be true then, but they're encouraged anyway, so that makes sense.
Sorry, guys.
I would definitely from the two individuals that I spoke to, just based off those two individuals, I would pretty much give my word that if they say that there is at least many occasions where they're verbally telling people that they are basically being encouraged to, yes, when the next election comes, please basically vote for us because we're the ones that brought you in, which should basically be classified as coercion. But it's if there's no documentation as evidence, then the only other evidence would basically be audio or video recordings of those bribes or coercions that are supposedly happening.
Yeah, sorry, guys. Can I just intervene here for a second? Yeah,
Always.
I know Anna muted him, but anyways, he made a comment about a Zionist. I just want to let you know, buddy, we're not Zionist, and we're not taking anybody's side. We're just taking the side of the innocent. Boss Killa, whatever the fuck your name is.
I was gonna block.
Just to let you know that. Just because I post an article of a Jewish couple saving their child doesn't make me a Zionist.
Too human.
Exactly.
I don't know. I would say a short version of that should be plain and simple. They should live amongst one land, amongst many different peoples and whatnot. It's hypocrisy for any group anywhere in this globe to claim that if you're not exactly like us, it brings you back to the historical terminologies of Aryan race, all that ideology bullshit all over again, in a sense, right? So it doesn't matter what country we're talking about, anywhere on the planet, any form of segregation like that they're trying to pull that bullshit on the general population, that should be a no-brainer.
Well, that's exactly what it is. Bullshit. It's absolute bullshit to come into a room and just right away call someone a Zionist. No, I'm no Zionist. But
I don't even know you.
no. But let's have a conversation though. Tell me why I'm a Zionist, and then we can have an exchange. But I guess he doesn't believe in dialogue. So
and Anna said it nice and short there. He said Zionist crying on a Chinese app.
Right. Yeah.
What I like about your live is sometimes you have people from other countries. You might have someone from Ukraine. You might have someone from Russia.
Yep.
And you allow them in the box so that they can express their opinion on what's going on with what they are and stuff too. So that's what I like about what you do. You give them a chance to voice their opinions.
Yeah, because I'm really curious to know their perspective. Okay, so you guys remember when I brought Apollo? I got slagged by Duke. Sorry, I'm calling him out, but I got slagged by Duke, and I got slagged by a lot of fucking liberals. You know what? I really don't care. I brought him on because I wanted to know what this guy was all about. And of course, I got attacked for it. And this is how people are. This is how demented people are. For instance, Duke claims to be about free speech, but he's all over me telling me that I can't have him on because I believe in ice walls and unicorns, okay? And the same thing with the liberals. The liberals basically tell me that I can't have him on because he's dangerous and he's threatening violence. On my live, no, he didn't. Maybe on other lives or on other videos that he's done, maybe. But I make it quite clear that I am not here to condone violence. I'm not interested in overthrowing. I'm not interested in issuing threats to politicians or anybody. But I do want to know what this guy is fucking thinking.
And how many times on that live in particular did you state that?
Exactly. And if I would have done it, you know what? If I had a chance to do it again, I would do it differently. Not to say that I would, to be honest with you, because I think I know what he's all about. But if it was somebody else, I think I would do it differently. Happier, I'm not sure what happened to him. To be honest with you, I don't know.
He was on here a couple of days ago making a video.
Was he?
Yeah.
I saw it too. He was saying that, we need. He was talking about getting people together, going to Ottawa again.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, and the other difference too, though, Alice, is it's not like you. Okay, like I understand, I totally understand, and I actually like that as well. That you give people an opportunity to come up and talk about their ideologies or their opinions or whatever, and as long as they keep it respectful, then feel free to have a difference of opinion on absolutely everything and anything. I've seen you do it 1,000 times.
Well,
And
Donnie, I will say though, Donnie, okay, I do have limitations though. I
oh,
don't
absolutely, that was what I was getting to.
Okay, go ahead.
And that's all it was basically going to end with, is that if anytime I've ever seen anyone that starts to get out of control or whichever whatnot, like you have a fairly good threshold, I would call it, of where it's like, okay, well, you know what, enough's enough. If I got to get rid of this person, block them, they're gone, or your moderator will do the same thing, kind of thing. But I mean, it's if anybody was to get upset with you, and who cares if it's just Apollo or anybody else in the future or anyone that you invite in as a guest, it's you're giving them, a short amount of time, and you're going to make that judgment call yourself. And if it's not a good atmosphere based around peace, and it's anything to do with hateful or violence or anything like that, again, I've heard you say probably well over 30 times, it's not welcome in my room. It's not welcome here. And I've seen quite a few times people that were in for a short period of time were never back as guests again.
I will also say, Donnie, is that I am not interested in hearing people give me a solution. Basically, people telling me that the Liberal Party or the Conservative Party or any of these mainstream parties are a solution, I'm not entertaining that. And the reason why is because that's what we're doing now, and we could see that our quality of life has gone down the fucking shitter. I mean, work is becoming very precarious, and that was all because of the system. And those parties follow that system. I am here to talk about anything else besides that. I want to talk about solutions that will work, not about things that we've tried and have failed miserably.
Absolutely, man.
So when people like Butters comes on here and he starts pushing his fucking Trudeau politics on me, I basically have to show him the door, because he did that once, and then I'm like, okay, you know what? Forget it. There's no fucking way. I am not gonna I'm not gonna be a hypocrite and criticize the system and then have somebody come on here and talk about how that's the solution, how Trudeau's a solution. Ain't gonna happen. Or Polyev or Jagmeet Singh.
That's right. And you know what, like, what I'm personally going to do is next time any of the leaders are close to me and I have opportunity to go to one of their events or whatever, or if I'm in one of their areas, I'm going to go and I'm going to try and have a few minutes with, pick a name, I don't care, any of them. And I'm going to start asking these politicians right to their face. I'm going to record it so everyone can see. I'll put the videos on here and everything as well. And I'm going to start asking them, okay, well, you know what? People right now, literally by the thousands, tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands, are being made more aware about the actual ability of what many constitutional conventions, referendums, proper reform, common sense reform for the actual common men and women of this land we call Canada, right? And the biggest thing I'm going to ask them is basically, are you willing, if we were to actually support you, like either way, you're either going to win or you're not going to win in the current system. You're going to be our new pretend prime minister, pretend whichever, whatever, to a certain extent. That's exactly what it is, right? And if you want, if any of you want support, so this also includes the PPC and Maxime Bernier, absolutely all of them. If you're not willing to work towards a referendum, multiple referendums for all peoples in Canada to actually have a bigger voice and choice in the policies, the regulations, and everything else that basically dictates our way of life and society here in this land we call Canada, then I'm going to say right off the bat, well, I'm not going to say it the way I'm about to say it, but I'm going to say right now that you're fucking incompetent for the position that you're willing to go in. You don't really give a flying shit about the actual opinions from the average men and women of this country that make this country, that you are falsely, in a sense, trying to represent and pull the wool over our eyes that things are going to get better under the same old regurgitated system that we already know is broken. And all we're going to get are these cookie crumbs with a little bit of unicorn dust and glitter thrown on top. It's still a pile of shit.
You got
You
it.
can put as much lipstick on it as you want, spray some free breeze on it, but guess what? A day later, it's going to start smelling like shit again.
In fact,
I don't think any Febreze can help, Donnie.
No.
No, but that's like, I know it's kind of a stupid analogy maybe that I use, but I mean, pure Polyev is that apple lavender Febreze that's being sold to us right now.
Well, did you see a recent video of him? He was eating
Eating
an
an
apple.
apple?
Oh, come on, give me a fucking break. Fuck off.
You know what? Like, I loved and I hated that speech, and I'll tell you why right now. Is everything that he said, like, who knows if the guy, you know, he goes to bed and reads that speech and answers to those questions every single night? Who knows? But
Exactly.
you got to give him credit. He held his cool. It makes you want to love the guy because of the way that he's talking. And I'll admit, he had me getting a little bit emotional where I was like, maybe this fucker, because I followed his career ever since that man has even stepped into politics. And I supported him for many years before most people even knew that he was Skippy. And I'm telling you right now, like, I've heard him talk. I can't even explain how many times. I've talked to him a few times, and I want to believe that he's a good man. I want to believe that he wants to make these proper changes. And the things that he talks about, like what you just said in this recent video, is common sense, bringing back common sense. Okay, well, if he's at that level, and I promise you right now, next time he's in my area or I'm in his area and he's having an event, I will go and I will record and I will ask that question. You know, I'll even go to the extent of saying, I love everything that you're talking about. I really do. But I'm shy from the entire system of the Westminster system because it's a bunch of regurgitated falsehoods that all of our ancestors and future have been basically lied to again and again. Are you willing, if you really care about what the people really want for common sense change, are you really willing to step forward and announce to the general public that you're willing to have multiple referendums where we, the people, will be able to have a voice on the topics that we want to vote on and what's important to literally vote on and what's going to get implemented at the so-called national or provincial, territory, municipal levels?
Donnie, do me a favor when you do that. Can you record it?
Oh, I absolutely will be.
Okay. No, because I like to hear what they got to say.
Be
Oh, you're
interesting.
damn right.
The only time that I actually want to hear what they got to say.
Now, I'm not gonna start fluffing my feathers or any of that bullshit, you know, like a peacock or whatever. But I really don't know if I could have a conversation and even have those questions to talk to Justin Trudeau. The man has completely disgusted me and completely pulled my faith away from any aspiring hope for the current system that all of us, since the creation of this so-called Canada, is supposed to be. It's like you said earlier, Alice, there's too many of us, whether it was 5 months, 5 minutes ago, 5 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, plus whatever. When you start to get awakened to so much of the knowledge, factual knowledge, it's so damn hard to go back and say, okay, well, how can we go back? It's only gotten worse and worse and worse over the entire so-called registered history of our political history in Canada, and nothing's gotten better. Like, of course, I'm not talking about, okay, we've had advancements like technology, health, yada yada yada, but the actual system itself, we could have been doing much better generations ago. And it's not that our ancestors didn't want that, the ones that were here anyways, and like I said, that part doesn't matter. It's at our fingertips now, and especially with the social media, all the technology at everybody's fingertips. I think it's literally at the cusp where all of us in this room, even a lot of the folks in the comments, don't give up. And like I said, even to Matt earlier, even if it's only 1 or 2 or 3 people that are listening, if they're sincere and they want to learn, it's those seeds are going to grow and grow and grow and grow, where it's going to come to a point as the collective, the majority of us are going to basically just stand up peacefully, and through hopefully constitutional conventions and proclamations, we can actually set this country and all of the countries and federate as a true nation. We can set everything free. We can all profit. We can live like kings and queens in a sense. And I'm not trying to paint this utopia, because it's an actual achievable utopia, but it's only achievable when we all step together as equals and initiate these processes.
Sorry, Dan, I want to ask Marco. Marco, you were talking about a referendum. Where was this?
The referendum was down here in Australia. We had a referendum about the Voice just come through, and it was defeated. The referendum for the Voice was defeated by I think it was like 69% said no. 69% of Australia said no.
Can you give me a link to that? What's it called?
Sure.
The Voice?
The Voice.
And how do they run that process for the referendum? Like, how is the voting process done? Is it electronic? Is it in person by paper?
It's in person. It's in person by paper. I took a photo of my vote and I did it in pen, not pencil. They want you to do it in pencil. I did mine in pen for obvious reasons, because I wanted my vote.
I can't believe that. I can't believe that Australia, the Westminster system, had a referendum.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
We've had quite a few referendums. And
we've only
that one was defeated.
It says here Australia has overwhelmingly rejected a plan to give greater political rights to Indigenous people in a referendum.
That's not truly the case. They wanted the Voice, the Uluru Statement and the Voice, or the Uluru Statement of the Heart, was supposed to show change the Constitution to include the First Nation people as part of the Constitution.
Constitutional challenge.
Yeah, it was a constitutional challenge. As far as I'm concerned, that is nonpartisan, that was a nonpartisan, passive-aggressive coup that they tried leading, and Australia said no. And I will say coup, because
so just to clarify, too, in that voting process, they had scrutineers that were in the process of the counting and everything as well?
Yep.
Okay, great.
So the issue,
that's one thing I argue for, and some people say I'm like a dinosaur. Oh, we can do everything electronic. Surveys and everything like that, absolutely. Do it electronic, save a fortune. Actual voting has to be done in person, paper ballot, scrutinized by the scrutineers, counted right in front of you to get a true outcome, a 100%. I'm not interested in the 99% true outcome. I'm interested in a 100% true outcome, and that's the only way we can do it. Mail-in votes?
Donnie,
no, thank you.
Well, Donnie, my vote, even though I did it in person, was considered a mail-in vote. I did it in person because I did it out of my region. I was away at work, so that's considered that was considered mail-in vote. However, the referendum, it was a resounding no. It's the people that it was supposed to be supporting. They all said no, because we all consider ourselves Australian. They wanted a divisive constitutional change. And I'm like, no, the Constitution was set up for all Australians, regardless of race or gender.
Well, as it should.
So,
Well, there you go. I mean, listen, it works. 60%. What was the participation, Marco?
I think
Great
the
question.
participation was around about 85%.
85%.
Wow.
85%.
Why do I say 85% for those people that did vote? It's every vote is required. It is a mandatory thing. You have to do it. You don't have a choice in it.
That's right.
If you don't, you get fined. Why? Because that's part of your democratic process. But the
I agree with it.
referendum was defeated. Why do people pay the fine and disregard the vote? Because they think that there's no, you don't get to say anyway. They've already decided what's going to happen. Not in this case.
No, you know what? If it's a referendum, I will vote, even if it's something that doesn't really affect me. I agree with it. I agree with it. I mean,
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
also
actually, that's a
quick
good
one there,
statement
John.
you just said there, Alice, as well. Because technically, if it's an important enough issue regarding any part of our community and our entire land, then it should be important to us, right? It probably
Yeah.
does affect us somehow, somewhere, somehow.
somewhere, some way, somehow,
Somehow, that's what I meant to say.
it could affect us. So it's like, you know what? Why not go and vote anyways? You know what? Listen, all the referendums in Switzerland are important because there's a process that takes place. Okay, they're just not going to put anything on a ballot. They
Yeah.
have to get it. I think it's, again, I could be wrong. It's you need at least 10% of each riding. You need 10%
To
support
put it forward, I think, yeah.
to put it forward. So once you get, and that's good, 10% in each riding. So if you get 10% in each riding, you know that, hey, you know what? This might be something serious that people want to vote on. So I think most referendums, for the most part, I think over 90% of them are serious and will affect you some way or somehow.
Well, and you can also have multi-referendum, like on one referendum, like you don't go and just vote on one policy or one amendment or anything that day. We could literally, as a people, go and vote on 100 different policy changes or things that are being put forward for us to actually vote on. You know what I mean?
Well, in Switzerland, they have about 6 referendums per year, federally, anyways.
On just single topics.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I'd like to have multiple topics. Imagine how much money we would save if we actually had. We go in there, we each spend 2 minutes instead of 2 seconds, and we mark down. I'm not 100 was exaggerating, but let's say each referendum 1 a year, or say 3 a year, and we would vote. Let's say up to 10 policies on average, say 3 or 4 major changes that we want. In the beginning, we would probably have a lot more. And as things settle and we start to get happy with the things that are in place and things are working, there would be a less requirement for those referendums, right?
But how would you structure that on a ballot? Would you put all the issues on a ballot with a yes and a no?
Well, I guess 2 ways. You could either have everything on one sheet and just like a questionnaire, yes and no, yes and no, yes and no, or whatever. And then, or you could literally have like 5 separate or 10 separate ballots with yes or no, and into the ballot box they go.
Well, if you want to save money, I would suggest you do it on one ballot, and
For sure.
you can vote on everything that particular day. I'm going to say though, they should have a yes, obviously a no, but there should be a non-confidence. Honestly, there should be a non-confidence on referendums. I know in Australia, and Marco could verify, but I know in Australia, when you're voting for a politician, there is a non-confidence vote. That's why you have to vote there.
No.
But there isn't.
Nope. When it comes to politicians and who we're electing, it's based on a number system. So you select your candidate based on preferential voting systems.
Okay.
So you give your preference to a certain candidate. So that can be either one. It depends if it's the House of Reps or the Senate. If it's the House of Reps, it's 1 to 38 or 45 or whatever it is. If it's the Senate or essentially the prime ministerialship, that's 1 to 5 or 1 to 7, whatever it is. You can choose one, or you can follow it through with giving your preference to everyone else. I never donkey vote that. I never put down a donkey vote. I'll always go below the line, not above the line.
What happens if I don't like any of them?
That's when you can give a donkey vote.
But what's a donkey vote, though?
A donkey vote is a no vote.
That's what I'm saying, though.
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about.
That's not a vote. That's not a vote of no confidence. That is a no
Okay,
vote.
I gotcha, Marco. But it is in a way because you have no confidence in any of the people on the ballot.
Hey, I just
agree.
want to mention real quick too. I don't know about anyone else, but when you're calling it a donkey vote, to me, that kind of sounds like non-confidence.
Okay, we call it a donkey vote, i.e.
No, I know
a
what
vote.
Marco's saying. I know what Marco's saying. It's not called that, but
I'm just being a smartass.
no.
Yeah,
Because
I do like the name,
call
though,
the same
donkey
thing
vote.
too. No, I think donkey's great because I think you know what, all the people here at Parliament Hill and at Queens Park, they're all fucking donkeys.
I just actually wanted to pop in to have a chat to Donnie really quick. Thank you for coming on the live last night that I was on, about 6 or 7 hours ago, thereabouts, with Otanku.
Oh, well, I that was last night for you, I guess. That was this morning for me.
This morning for you. Thank you for coming on that live. I was going to talk to you about that anyway. When you asked about Freemasonry and whatnot, and I just turned around and said to you, for me, it's just a brotherhood. For me, it's just a brotherhood. Just mateship.
Yeah, no, I wasn't trying to bait in the comments or be rude or anything like that. There's only so much you can write in the comments. I have a couple of family members that are part of as well, and friends that I grew up with, and I was even approached quite a few years ago if I was interested in joining myself, and it's it's. If anything, I would just have questions like some of the questions you may or may not have seen that I wrote in the comments and stuff like that.
I did see them. That's why I was trying to answer them this morning for you.
Marco, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so so who decides that you guys get a referendum?
The referendum goes through. First off, the referendum has to pass the House of Reps. A bill is introduced, and it must, as a referendum, it must be introduced into the House of Representatives.
Okay.
And the majority party will push it through.
Gotcha.
And then it'll go through the Senate. Once it goes through
for final
Senate,
approval, I guess, right?
For final approval to go to referendum, and then it will go to referendum to the people. It'll go
almost identical to how it would work here in Canada.
By the way, Marco, I fucking hate that, but I understand.
I do too.
I was waiting for you to say that, Alice.
Alice, I hate it as well. I fucking hate it as well. I absolutely fucking loathe it. I loathe politics as a general rule.
Yes.
Because you're trying to find the least of all the evils there. You're trying to find. It's like the old saying, the lesser of two evils or lesser of three evils. But it's like, well, that's always true, but better the devil you know than the devil you don't.
That's true.
And when it comes to voting for politicians, it usually comes down what's the lesser of the three evils or four evils or whatever. Yeah.
Well, I will tell you this much, Marco. I haven't voted since 2008, federally, provincially, and I will continue not to, because for me, I hear what you're saying, but for me, I don't want to pick any evil. I don't care how lesser it is. because I don't want. Again, I'm not trying to be confrontational. Believe me, I'm not. I just
I
don't want to
I get that.
perpetuate the system anymore.
I get that, Alice, and that's kind of why we've got that donkey vote.
I wish we had one here. Because then I would fucking vote all the time.
Let's put let's put our own twist on it and call it the partridge vote.
Yeah.
What about the poutine vote? What about the poutine vote?
No. That would be for someone that we actually liked. Well, I guess we like partridge too, but I was more using it as because partridge is probably the dumbest
Stupidest?
bird that exists in Canada, anyways, and that's why we eat them.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Donnie, here's what I tried saying before. One thing that we need to do is we need to. This is my own personal opinion. I don't know if you agree with this, but we need to put the term limits on all senators, regardless if they're office
hell
holders
yeah.
or not.
Absolutely. And even to go one step further, and I know the Senate would cringe to hear anybody say this, if we were to actually implement a true form of democracy, a direct democracy through referendum and starting with constitutional conventions, what in the hell do we even need a Senate for?
Correct.
Or a governor general, or a lieutenant general, or any of the staff involving any of those positions.
Governor General is there as a Queen's representative. I don't know if you guys have gone independent. I know you guys
we
are still
have the exact same system.
I know that you guys are still part of the Commonwealth, but I don't know if you guys are still independent per se.
Well, they like to they like to pretend that we're independent. Yes, just like I hate to say it, but just like Australia is still pretending that they're sovereign and independent. They're independent to a certain extent. Same with any of the Commonwealth. But yeah, like without getting right down the nitty gritty of it, there's many changes that need to be made worldwide eventually, especially through the democratic, if you will, countries or nations across the globe. And
Agreed. No, well, look, me personally, I look at the Governor General position as a rather redundant position personally, but I understand why it's there. It's a figurehead for the Queen or the King or royalty. What do I say with that?
Well, and again, if we're sovereign and we're independent, then what do we need those positions for? And again, when I talk about it, I say that 100% pull away from the representation from the crown and the monarch and everything like that, like was actually promised to all Commonwealth countries upon the death of Queen Mum, and actually go by the honor of that word. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that we have to be foes and enemies of the United Kingdom or anything like that. By all means, I think we should stay closest and even closer of allies and work together towards a brighter future. But we don't need even the most minuscule aspect of control of a head of state that oversees any of our countries.
Agreed.
And then look at the money we would save.
Here's a funny thing.
And I know,
I've got a question for you. Have you ever looked into the Constitution if anywhere in the Constitution actually states that there is such title as such office title as Prime Minister?
If you go to, I can only speak about Canada, and I'm out in my garage right now, so I don't have my laptop and all that, and most of my other stuff's packed right now. But just to recall from memory, in Canada, as of 1982 is when they're trying to say that we have our initiated true form of our revamped version of our constitutional approval and charter rights and freedoms, yada, yada, yada. Now, at the same time, why is it that the Trudeau Sr. went to get approval from the Crown at the time, flew into England, got approval? Now, why would you have to even do that if you were already sovereign? and then
Exactly.
comes back with our regurgitated version of what we look at today as our so-called Charter of Rights and Freedoms, part of the Constitution of Canada. It doesn't even really truly exist, because in Canada, the whole entire so-called nation has never came to the table and actually agreed upon all of it. That's why here in
Yep.
Canada we hear the province of Quebec. Many people, even to this day, and they won't stop, still consider Quebec a nation within a nation,
It is a nation within a nation.
where
Its political
technically
leaders.
they're almost correct, where they're not a nation within a nation. They actually are just a nation. Just like Ontario, all the other provinces and territories, technically, all they have to do is to basically stand up as a group of people, as the men and women of those areas of land. Same thing goes for Australia, all your different areas, districts, whichever, whatever. And you get the populace to basically stand up and proclaim, not declare, but proclaim through proclamation that we, the people of this land, are proclaiming our sovereignty. And
Yep.
when you actually have, especially when you pass the 51%, I know some people argue with me, but to me, again, on an international so-called law, international stage, when you have 51% of the voting population that is standing up and through proclamation, and of course through peaceful process, and you can prove through that voting process, through your constitutional conventions, and even the actual numbers based off any of the referendums you may have had also around that constitutional conventions, and that will be recognized by the international community. You then become your sovereign nation, which used to be called, say, a province of your country, or say the province in Canada. British Columbia would not be a province of British Columbia. They are the nation of British Columbia, nation of Alberta, nation of Yukon, nation of Ontario, Newfoundland, Nova Scotia. And basically at that point, then as equal people across the land, equal men, equal women, we all have that equal voice and choice through vote to decide our own paths. And if we as a collective say we need to work together and federate, not confederate, but federate as a united, sovereign, independent nation, then we're going to actually see and live and experience the whole thing for which they've lied to us and our fathers and mothers and grandparents and great-grandparents and so on. We will actually get to see everything that they talked about, but they worked against to ever implement for the benefit of men and women across all of our so-called democratic countries. And when we initiate those processes and we can prove without a doubt that we pass those thresholds, the international community, through international law, will recognize us as our true nation. And we will no longer be considered the Corporation of Sydney, the Corporation of Toronto, the Corporation of Vancouver. We will be considered Sydney, Australia, Toronto, Ontario, an actual city of men and women and children that reside within that nation. Or if we, the people, decide to keep that nation called a province, if we like the name province, and again, through constitutional convention and referendum, we decide the actual governmental systems that we want to put in place to govern us in our way of life and society amongst our countries. So whether that's direct democracy, whether that's a republic, and so on. But we put that to a vote where every man and woman gets to make their informed decision on what they feel would be best for them and their families. End of rant. Sorry.
That's all right. That's what you call a referendum. That there is the referendum. You put
Yes,
it
sir.
forward to the people where the power is derived from. You take it back to them.
Now, the only other thing I want to add into there, because of course we always have to talk about the minority groups or the minority vote. Of course, like with referendum, with vote, any type of referendum or vote or anything, there's always the so-called losers, the people that didn't vote for that area. Now, when it comes to the referendums, constitutional conventions, forming our own new constitutions, every single process let's call it the three main morals of our societies. And one is without segregation, for example. So all peoples must be treated equally, no matter what path we decide, whether it's social infrastructure, education, healthcare, every single aspect of our way of life, no matter who you are, man, woman, black, yellow, brown, a different culture, different language, none of that matters. We're all given true equality. So so anything that basically falls under those human rights, those basic human rights, will and can never, ever be part of a constitutional amendment, constitutional change of any sort. It can never be brought up in referendum, ever. Even if there's 99% of the people that say, we don't like this certain color of people and we don't want them to be able to live in our country. Well, whether say there's 100 million people in the country down the road, whichever, whatever, and 99.999 million people, well, for the common sense of humanity, and we cannot go outside of those morals. We can't base people off their differences of their culture, language, color, and most of us obviously already get that. So then when it comes to those referendums, the so-called minority groups are people that feel like they're being segregated and that they're worried that, okay, well then if I disagree, then it's going to segregate against me and it's human rights and I'm just going to be squashed as the little man like usual. It's not like that, because any other changes that that person, man or woman, wants or supports, again, they can support whatever they want, and as long as it doesn't interfere with the actual human rights of a man and a woman or a human being. I know some people hate that terminology, but I'm sorry, you should know what I'm talking about. It's everything else is open for debate. Everything else is open for referendum. Everything is open to change the Constitution and create a Constitution that we all agree with, as long as the number one rule is it never interferes or goes against the obvious common sense, basic human rights of a man, woman, child amongst our lands. Does that make sense?
100% for me.
%100% for me.
Yep.
Necktie, what do you think? He's been quiet there.
I'm always quiet. What are you talking about?
No, you're not.
Roxy, don't you start with me. Only when Roxy starts, I start talking.
That's why I
Yeah, we
started
just-
you.
Oh, when it comes to Canadian loyalists, you know, I hold myself back from yelling out amen when he stops talking.
That could be taken two different ways, Necktie.
Oh, in a good way.
I'll take it as a compliment.
I definitely agree with him. It's rare.
And by the way, just call me Donnie. Because literally, a lot of times everyone just say, "Oh, Canadian loyalist." Maybe I should just change the name so it says my name. But I mean, I just consider myself a Canadian loyalist, not loyal to the Canadian corporation, but loyal, just like I could pretty much say every single one of you are. Like, maybe you don't like the label or anything, but I'd consider most people that I actually converse with, most people, not all, but most people I converse with and know, I would consider them Canadian loyalists. People that give a shit about each other, give a shit about our land, give a shit about our futures, and actually want to fix this regurgitated bullshit that we keep dealing with day in day, year and year, decade after decade, generation after generation. And still to this day, the biggest question I get, or the biggest argument I get in is they say, "Oh, well, you don't even know what a Canadian loyal is, this and that. You're saying you're loyal to the crown." And it's like, my goodness, do we have to go over this again? That's a British loyalist.
Yeah, people don't realize that we're not colonizers.
There you go. There's a
They
huge
passed
difference
away a
between
long time ago.
colonizers and settlers.
A big difference.
My family came here as traders, so you know, like they were trading with the natives and that. So
A good part of my family came here because they were sick and tired of trying to survive off grass and rotten potatoes.
You're
that'd be
Irish
the
too?
other part of the family.
Yeah, my dad's side.
I mean, my dad's side came here before Canada was even Canada.
Yep.
We came here before even the British.
So you have Dutch and French or
French.
French, yeah. I've got the Dutch and the French on my mother's side from the East Coast. Dad's side's mainly Irish and well, the most, as far as I know, the deep Irish roots basically trace back to England and Scotland, but who knows? Back in those days, right?
Jaxie says technically it's the same. Sorry, what's the same?
I just consider myself a Canadian mutt or Heinz 57, whatever you call it. A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
On my dad's
There's-
side, I'm French and native. On my mother's side, I'm French and Irish.
Oh,
So you
sorry,
said French, so Métis or a Mi'kmaq?
From what I understand, my grandmother got thrown out because she was with a French person,
Yeah,
a white
happened quite a
man.
bit.
So she never talked about it at all.
oh,
She
by the way,
basically
Don,
sat on the floor when you brought it up.
Sorry, what's that, Alice?
no, I remember we're talking about that party, the Direct Democracy Party of Canada.
Yep.
Well, it looks like they're affiliated with none of the above.
What do you
Because
mean?
when you go to the okay, so there's a political party called None of the Above Direct Democracy
Oh,
Party.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, Greg's a great guy, and he's done a lot of great stuff for that party, right? He's really made waves, right? Anyways, when you go to the main page, you'll see None of the Above Party Ontario and None of the Above Party Canada. When you click on None of the Above Party Canada, it takes you to the Direct Democracy Party of Canada.
Really?
So I'm just here right now. So I'm wondering if I mean, obviously Greg's got something to do with this because now
Yeah, I would assume probably a few years ago they collaborated and said, well, I'm sticking to Ontario. If you want to try and do this at the federal level, then I'll help you out with whichever.
Yeah, maybe they said, okay, maybe we'll change the None of the Above and we'll put it to the Direct Democracy Party of Canada.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to find out the team. I know that there's a few people on here, but I don't recognize Greg Vesna. So
Greg
and you know
Vesna.
who else was on that None of the Above Ontario was, you know, Crombie, Bonnie Crombie.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, the mayor of Mississauga.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, her ex-husband. Her ex-husband is in that party, and he ran for Mississauga. I forgot which. I don't know, Mississauga Center. Or, no, actually, Greg is Mississauga Center. But anyways, he's running for one of the ridings of Mississauga. So that's rather interesting. I got to send him a message to see what's going on.
Yeah. See if you can pick his brain.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
Anytime, man.
Okay, I lost my train of thought.
Oh,
How are you,
What's
Nick?
it-
Pardon?
How are you?
A little sore, but still alive.
What you do?
Who's the lucky woman?
No, I just gave it a good go today.
Okay.
Got most of the shit done. Still a shitload to do.
There's always a shitload to do.
Never ends.
My nanny
Right
used
on.
to
I hear
say,
you.
that's when you die.
That's true. It does end. You're right.
Got everything almost put away there. Just a few little things left to do. Should be done tomorrow though for that. Hopefully. And I can get on my windowsill lids there.
Shit ton
Doing
of
rentals to the
rain
house?
around here.
Pardon?
You're doing renos to the house?
No, it's just my basement windows with the wind and my sills are so deep they fill up with snow. So I
Oh,
put covers over them so they don't, and it cuts down on the heating too.
oh yeah.
But this year I'm going to try making them out of plexiglass, so I don't have to redo them every 2 or 3
covers?
years. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Kudos is renewing a store, and I took all the plexiglass they're throwing out.
Nice. Hey, one man's junk is the next man's treasure, as they say.
Yeah,
I'll be honest, I say that too.
and of course my dad brings back stuff from work all the time.
Yeah.
This time he brought back countertops. I still don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I want them.
Speaking of renovations, I haven't shown you the updated, have I, Donnie?
Yeah, no.
I think everybody else, well, not everybody, but obviously Roxy and Necktie, I think they've seen it.
Yeah,
I'm
my
gonna
memory's good, but it's not that good. You can show them again.
say- Okay.
I'm in love with this hood range.
Pretty soon I'm going to need a bigger garage. I got too many tools.
I hear you. But you see the price of concrete and all that shit now to build a garage? My goodness.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like it.
Isn't that beautiful?
Turn out nice. I gotta say, turn out nice.
I only have one question. What are you going to do with all that space? You only cook for one.
No, it's gonna remain empty.
Oh, okay.
That's just for decoration.
Yeah. Women, I tell you something. Women and men are so obviously different. Women will say, "Hey, what are you going to do with that space?" And men won't even acknowledge that space. They'll just
You
say,
call me a
"Hey, nice
woman?
space."
Did you just call me a woman?
No, not you. I'm just saying. Women.
I think he did
Well,
necktie.
maybe, yeah. Actually, I think I did Necktie because you're asking me what I'm going to do with that fucking space.
Oh, we had this conversation this morning.
I just got one question. Where's the beer tap that you were going to install on the counter?
No.
Looks like you got enough space to get a chilled keg in there.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Yeah, that's one thing I'd add to your island is a water spout with a small little sink.
Oh, why you got to
Don't
ruin
think
the
I'm
dream? Why couldn't you start with having a beer spout or a wine
The beer
spout?
spout would be closer to the fridge.
Thanks, living life.
Actually, no, I get what you're saying there.
No
Just one
happy,
of
no
those
wife.
little vegetable sinks there.
No. Just I just got the cooktop on the island. That's it. And
Yeah. That's the only thing I would have done different, but that is fucking beautiful. I love it.
yeah. So what I started with and what I got. pretty happy. So I do have a
Where
couple of
did
so-
where did you end up picking up your cabinetry?
Well, I bought the raw wood, the plywood, at a supplier close by here, and then the stiles and rails I bought birch. I bought solid birch from a millwork place close to where I
Okay.
live. So my dad put it all together. I stained it, and I've got to fix some of the cabinets because the middle coat. See the middle part where the handle is?
Okay, yeah.
Well, I'm not happy with that. It's too dark. I just basically want to lighten it up. So I bought this stain remover. It removes varnish and stain. And
Okay.
I'm just going to apply one coat of stain, and that's it.
Okay.
It stands out. It really stands out. Hi, Jillian.
That is beautiful, though.
Yes, birch is much better looking than maple, and maple's nice.
Yeah.
Usually
that is
cheaper too.
beautiful work.
Birch is cheaper, yeah.
hmm
Not
That's
much though,
beautiful.
Donnie.
No, not by much, but hey, this day and age, if you can save $2 to $6 on a sheet, I'll be going with the birch.
Yeah. So for was it $3.95 linear foot, yes, of birch, and for poplar it's about $2.15.
Oh yeah.
So I got them both.
Poplar is more a much softer wood too, though, right? Like
Yes, it is. It is. I
it
mean,
would
you got to
look
be
really
careful.
stressed just over a couple of years.
This is what I hear. I hear that it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to warp or.
Yeah, you could deal with warping too, especially if you got, say, a water spillover or whatever, and then just over time it could start to wrinkle the sheets.
Yeah, I mean, but that's with anything though, right?
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't realize that. They think that a lot of people think birch is a softwood, but it's not. It's a hardwood.
It is. Maple's a hardwood. Birch is a hardwood.
Yeah.
Even poplar is a hardwood too.
Poplar is like right at that cusp.
It's right in that between mark.
So I did do these. There's 3 windows here, right? And I did the back bends on them. Those are the new casings. I
Oh,
put
okay.
back bend on them, and it definitely adds more character to it. And I did add a cabinet there. You guys can't see where I'm pointing my finger, but see the back window there? Right
Yeah.
beside it, put a cabinet there. And there's a smaller cabinet that goes beside the oven on the right side. And
Okay.
I finished the cabinet that goes in between that window on the left side, on the right side, to the other side of the oven. That I'm finished with, but we're just having some difficulties putting it in right now because my dad's got to shave it down or he's got to plane it or something.
Live and Learn says
Wow.
that she can see some dust. She wants to go there and clean it.
Yes, the inner woman is roaring right now.
Nothing.
That's her inner woman. Her inner woman's like, yes, I need to get to that dust.
You
Hey,
could,
look at that open. Hey, look at that open space. What are we gonna do with this?
you could put your tools away first.
You know what you should do just to spite the ladies is bring 1 or 2 toolboxes in there and use them for putting silverware or something in.
I'll put a toolbox in there.
Oh,
There you go. I
that'd
filled
be
the
funny as
space.
hell.
No offense to anyone. I'm probably going to get hate from that one, that last statement. Alice made me do it.
It is my fault.
I just see the tools he didn't put away.
It's funny. So as soon as Roxanne came on, there was a bunch of crows just fucking squawking in the back. I said, are those women nagging again? I said something like that, right? I said, because we're talking about someone was asking, oh, what's the topic? I said, the topic is about women and how they nag their fucking their husbands or their boyfriends to death, right? And as soon as she comes on, you just hear a bunch of fucking crows squawking.
You
Perfect
jumped
timing.
right on that, didn't you?
Fucking perfect. Oh man, never let an opportunity just go by you.
And you know, like I just wanted to point out too, like I'm being sincere, not trying to be too much of a smart aleck, but look at the counter space. You know how many sandwiches you could make on that counter?
Exactly.
The possibilities are endless. So are
We
the
have a
sandwiches.
buffet in that kitchen.
Oh, if you got one of those small displays, Alice, the cooler displays that you could put like 6 or 8 different toppings and keep them chilled, right on that back wall.
Somebody was asking me if I'm going to put a vase of flowers. I'm like,
Are they edible?
Yeah. Like, are you serious?
Oh, I bought you some flowers. Is this fresh dill?
Yeah. Is it
Or some
parsley?
chive? Yeah, some
If
parsley.
it's thyme or parsley, yeah, I'm good. Bring it on in.
It does need a pop of color. I'm just saying.
Well, I might put a candle there. I might put a candle.
Yeah, I could just see it right now. If you let the ladies come over for even a 5-minute visit.
No, I
You-
already told them, Donnie, I only got 1 dinner plate, 1 fork, 1 knife, 1 coffee cup, 1 glass. That's it. I've got 1 of each. That's it. I got no more.
Then what are
Thank
you going to
Beaches.
do?
I just see
One
all the
beer.
counter space where you can grow herbs and all kinds of stuff.
Herbs are good.
How's it going, Greg?
Oh yeah, stuff that's edible.
You've got a window there with counter space.
Yeah.
Or you could even get those. They're like little mini cup holder racks. You mount them on the wall like a picture, maybe one
Oh,
on each
yes.
side. Yeah, grow some fresh basil or basil, whatever you call it, and
Basil.
parsley, and maybe some chives.
Yeah, what I'll do is see those lights up in the ceiling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll turn them into grow lights.
No, don't do that. Grow lights are extremely
Well,
bad for people.
And in like 2 months, there, Alice will come on and show us pictures. And be like, look at this! I got my corn stalks already 6 feet high.
Yeah. Were you guys asking if I had flowers? Well, there you go. There's my flowers.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
If you just let the chives go a little bit, they get a little purple flower.
They do, and you
That
can
is
eat them.
true. Yes. How about flaxseed? Yeah. Okay. Have you guys grown flaxseed? The flowers are beautiful.
Yeah.
No.
I haven't grown it though,
Yep.
but I've seen them.
Yeah, purple flowers.
See, you do like flowers.
Saskatchewan has fields of them. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah, they're gorgeous.
What color are those ones?
Purple.
I believe they're purple.
Oh, okay.
Flax is used for thousands of things.
Oh, flax is like a, I don't know if it's a superfood, but it's pretty versatile. Yeah, no problem, Avery. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they're purple. Beautiful fucking flower, man.
Flax used to be used in diapers, tampons, all kinds of things.
Yep.
But now they got this new.
Oh, those were 2 of the items I wasn't thinking of.
No, me neither.
All kind of medical stuff too. But now
So
they
much for
have,
that bag of flax biscuits.
You won't ever eat them again, will you?
That's looking good, Alice.
Thanks, Avery.
Every time I eat one of those friggin' flax crackers, I'm going to be thinking I'm taking a chomp out of, what you just said. And then I'll get the visual of going to the garbage dump and watching the odd black bear walk out with a friggin' diaper in its mouth.
Yeah.
Absolutely disgusting. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like, I don't know, applesauce to them or something, but They're attracted to the damn things.
Donnie.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I've witnessed it too many times. I wish I could say it was a myth. But
It's not a
That's
myth,
That's a weird fetish.
but he's
Hey, listen,
right.
bears are big rats. That's all they are. Bears are just
they're
big
gross.
fucking rats.
pretty much. Yeah. If someone ever offers you bear meat, first question you should always say is,
Nope.
where was it? Where was the animal taken?
Yes.
And if it was within an hour of any town, say no, thank you.
Yeah, if it was roaming the streets of Burlington, yeah, no thanks. No, seriously, they found one. It was well, it's been a while now, but they caught a bear. They had to tranquilize it. It was in Burlington.
Wow.
Yeah, we had a mother and her cubs not far from here in Embrum, Ontario.
Yep.
In the spring.
That's scary.
By where? Pembroke?
Embrum.
Oh, okay.
It's near Casselman, Ontario.
Yep.
I live basically in the middle.
There you go. Somebody was asking where Necktie lives. There you go.
Middle fucking nowhere. Well, it used to be.
So anyway, that phone call I got was from the PSW that I used to work with that got injured after only one jab. And he's fighting long term because after 2 years, they're going to ask the former hospital if they have any jobs for him. And if they do, and he's not taking the second jab because he got rheumatoid arthritis, he got nerve damage, and now he's got heart problems. He's got to go, blood pressure problems and that. He's got to go for more heart tests next week or a couple of weeks from now. And he might, if long term kicks him off and he won't get the second jab, he'll be fired. So,
Wow.
so we were talking for a while. So, all because of that. And
So, I mean, Avery, they seem like they're doubling down. They just double down. They double down. Like after all this news is coming out about the fact that the vax doesn't work, you can take 5, 6 fucking boosters, you're still gonna get it. Bill Gates admitting that it wasn't effective. Fauci fucking lying about the fact that he never said that it would stop transmission when he did. I mean, all this shit's coming out, and they're still pushing it.
they are, yeah.
Well, that cocksucker Gates is putting it in food.
And I think they're spraying with the chemtrails. They're trying to poison us any way they can. Or so if you spray the stuff all over, nobody can avoid it. To some
Well, my
degree.
buddy Pat just went up to towards Petawawa where his hunting camp is, and they were spraying the fucking the whole area down there with tractors and that going through the woods.
Yep. Even up in my area, believe it or not.
So you can't even like hunt wild game without risk of,
Well, most of us up here, like literally, like will take like the release because the actual the Ministry of Natural Resources here in Ontario, they literally show the mapping of, oh, this is where we're going to be spraying and in these areas, and then I take a copy of that, send it to all my friends and family, and show it to anyone else that wants to see, and I say, this is where I don't want you to pick blueberries or hunt or fish for the next 2 to 5 years.
Basically. That's the only way to get around it. But even then, but after a while, they're going to have everything covered.
Well, even if you look at our power lines that go all over the place, like look at how much land our power lines cover across the whole country, and look at most of the provinces still, the chemicals they use, the herbicides to literally kill the plantation. It's absolutely insane. Like that's one thing I'll give Quebec credit for to a certain extent anyways, is they've banned a lot of these harsh chemicals, and the other thing it's done is it's helped create those jobs again for guys and gals to go and clear manually with equipment and chainsaws and all that stuff, right? Instead of spraying all these crazy harsh chemicals that obviously leach into other plantation and eventually leach into our creeks and rivers and lakes.
Don't forget the pipelines too.
Oh yeah.
They use the same stuff.
Yeah, it's
Same
not
stuff, yeah.
it's not good. I just saw a thing. Actually, I duetted it. I did a video today where I duetted where someone's talking about them spraying Ontario and stuff, and there's a petition out to stop it or something. I
Yep.
duetted
There's actually a
some,
pretty big movement.
so because
Actually, let me see if I can find the guy's information for you right now.
yes, I just duetted that today. Actually, that one. Mm.
I think the main group started out in Sudbury because that was one of the main areas that they were trying to do a project in. And if anybody knows the Sudbury region and you've been to the Sudbury region, say at a minimum of 25 years ago, but if you were there, say 40 years ago, you would remember that the majority of that area basically looked like a great big black burnt death valley in a sense that you were driving through.
Yep.
Nothing would grow. The trees wouldn't grow. The grass wouldn't grow. For the longest time, it was told even to the people because of the acidic, excuse me, acidic rains and all that other stuff from the other pollutions, not to even grow your own personal gardens. Of course, most people still grew them, but, and then now if you go there, or even over the last, say, 20 years, they've done a lot of, what do you call it, hydro seeding, tree planting. Hell, they even grew massive amounts of actual hemp to help stabilize the soils to allow other plantation to grow. And then they came in here in with the proposal to use these massive herbicides on other areas and stuff. And it's like, look, what the hell are you doing? Their lakes. Actually, one of the unique things also about Sudbury region is within the city limits, I believe it has the most freshwater lakes of any other place on the planet by far. I think it has like 380 lakes within city limits. And a lot of those were dealt with a lot of old school pollution, right? So it took literally generations for those waters to neutralize and the acidic levels to drop enough where fish and other habitat and growth of even plantation was able to take a stronghold and start to develop back. And now when they proposed all this shit, common sense tells you, oh, okay, great. We're just at the cusp of getting things back to where they should be, and you want to annihilate it all over again?
Hey, Harley.
Yeah.
No, that's what the WHO wants.
Yeah,
Well, and you know, like,
true.
that's the other scary thing too, is like, you would think, like, if any of you were into fishing or anything like that, or even hunting, whatever, but let's talk fishing for example. If you came up to my neck of the woods where I live right now, you would assume that you could throw your fishing line into anything that has water in it, and within an hour you should be able to catch your limit, because that's how remote I am and how far north and all this kind of crap. But it's not the case. A lot of my friends and acquaintances have come up here and been like, oh, dude, like, I drove, like, what, it felt like 9-10 hours, which, depending where you are, could easily be that. And they're like, why am I not catching a ton of fish?
Because if
And
they're
then there's
being
certain lakes around here. Sorry, go ahead.
if they're being poisoned, they're being killed.
Well, that's the other thing. And some people say, oh, overfishing, or they blame the First Nations for overnetting. And in my area, it's, I'm, a lot of my friends are from the local First Nations and stuff. And they do some netting, but the way that they do it is sustainable. They'll net, they don't leave long-term netting. They basically net it. They check it multiple times, and they only literally take what they need and release the rest, because they want the lakes to actually grow in population, right? Because they know that people that are non-status also fish, so they're competing for those resources as well. And we don't get the ministry that's doing the stocking levels through the stocking programs as much as what they used to anymore either.
Yeah.
Jesus, we got Gator Guard down here now.
You got what?
Gator Guards.
Oh,
what?
okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
What did you say?
really.
A gator?
Yep.
What?
Gator Guards. They're like
It's like a pike with alligator mouth.
Yep.
What do they do?
Give you
Like
nightmares?
Son of a bitch.
What'd you say?
No, Avery, the question you need to ask is, are they good to eat?
Are they a fish? I don't know what they are.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fish.
Oh, okay. Never heard of it.
They got an extremely hard mouth, hard to hook. And
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
don't get your fucking fingers in there. God suckers, they bite.
Oh, okay, okay. I never heard of that fish, so I didn't know what he was.
It's
Well, more importantly, are they good to eat?
yeah, but they're very fucking. They're like a pike, extremely bony.
So like a carp?
No.
No, like a pike. Well, the natives.
And again,
call 'em
pike, it depends
basically
where you
water
catch them,
snakes.
right?
They're no good, really. They're only white men eat those. Natives don't eat them. At least not over here, around here. They call them water snakes, no good to eat. That and pike. They just throw it all back.
How
We even
big do
called-
they grow? How big do they get?
Oh, big, like a pike or a muskie.
Wow.
Oh yeah, they get
Muskie
pretty
is big. If you ever go to the Bass Pro Shop, actually, I don't think it's called that anymore up in Bond. They have, well, they did, maybe they don't anymore, but they had a huge tank of lake
Oh
fish.
yeah, yeah.
And you'll see a muskie, oh, sorry, a muskie.
A
there.
muskie.
Dude, thanks.
Oh yeah, I love musky fishing.
I like fishing for what I'm going to eat.
Same here.
Oh,
Same here.
I'll eat muskie. I am white, partially, more than anything. So yeah.
You'll
Only a
eat
little
muskie?
bit, maybe. I'll eat muskie. Yeah, it's good.
See, I think muskie tastes exactly the same as the name.
So not good.
Yeah, like
Well, my buddy can
even
cook,
pike.
so-
Like even up where I grew up and where I live now, well, in the northern Ontario region, it's like when I eat pike, it has to be under a certain size. If it's a great big fat sucker like 20 plus pound, no thanks. But
No.
if it's like say a 5 pounder and it's out of nice ice cold water like ice fishing,
Yep.
then I'll eat it if it's filleted properly and cooked proper. Then it's amazing actually. But then even way up here in the summer months, if you're getting a small lake that heats up really lots and they get that really, I don't know, like, well, we call it loon shit, but swampy kind of taste to them, you know?
Yeah, when they're too big, they're no. It's like a fat catfish. That.
Oh yeah, exactly. Or even lake trout. Like my one buddy was like, "Oh, I got this amazing, beautiful lake trout," and he's like, "I cooked it, and I was gagging every time I went to put a bite in my mouth. It was so greasy." And I was like, "Dude," I said, "Did you cut the belly off?" He's like, "What do you mean the belly?" I was like, "Okay, you know that big part of the fillet that you thought was meat, but it's actually fat, and it's white, and it's on the one part close to the belly." He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "If it's gray and white, slice that shit off because that's the part that's going to make you gag. That's the part we fry up and give to the dogs."
By the way, Nick says, what's your take on that? How all over the world it's allows? It's very concerning. That's for sure. I'm sure there's a lot of people that they don't even follow politics that tell me that they're scared.
Yeah. Oh, lampreys, eh? Yeah. No, thank you. Lampreys and eels and all that. Look, I've tried smoked.
Yeah, I like it.
I've eaten it. It's actually good, eh?
Yeah. Eel, you basically soak it in milk for 24 hours.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm not interested in touching it, but whatever the hell anybody does to it to make it taste good, I'll try a bite. But I'm not going to handle them.
I figure if it's game to fuck up my fishing for the night, I'm game to cut its head off and eat it.
Holy
Oh
smokes.
shit.
Necktie
That's the time I
dropping
really get
facts.
pissy if somebody fucks up my hunting or my fishing. That's when I get a grump, and oh yeah, it's bad for everybody around.
Then it's angry Frenchman.
Well, I think the Irish really comes out.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I haven't been out hunting once this season at all.
I went and got my turkey.
No, did you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I want to do that next year
I
for
just
sure.
go sit in my spot. I wait about 2 hours tops. One of them comes out. And then I come home.
Yeah.
Alice, do you
That's
ever
a good
hunt?
spot.
Sorry, Roxanne, what's that?
Do you ever hunt?
No, never hunted in my life. Well, for cougars, yeah. But
You know, that used to be my favorite cat till they started that.
Yeah, it's been a stressful
Johnny was
week
four-legged
moving
one
and stuff, so I appreciate the extra humor.
You know, what the four-legged cat ever do to you?
I've never hunted, ever. I fished, never hunted.
Well, not so much that I gave up hunting, but it was more I moved away from Northern Ontario, small town kind of thing, to the big cities, and got too busy and too occupied with, work and life and all that stuff. So I that's when they were grandfathering and they started the whole FAC to Powell and all those new programs. When I took my license, it was one course, your safety, absolutely everything, right? And so I basically let everything kind of expire other than my actual hunting license. So now, until I go and take that particular course for the pew whatever you want to call it, then the only way I can go out and hunt, like I can get a tag for absolutely anything, or apply through the lottery for any animal that's on the list, and so I'm only able to say snare, use like an air pew under so many certain feet or whatever, so like crossbows and stuff like that. And but I got to get all that done there real soon anyways, because I have heritage items to basically have passed on to me, right? So
Oh yeah.
but next year for sure I'm gonna go for big game again.
I don't bother with big game anymore. I stop at deer. It's good enough for me.
Yeah, no deer where I am though. Too north for them.
Getting to the point I'm going to have to move somewhere else to find another hunting area because it's getting too many people around here now.
They're coming right to my yard lately.
Really?
Yeah. One was
Do they
eating
like
my-
barbecue sauce?
One was eating my cayenne pepper the other day. I said, "Go ahead, season yourself."
There you go. That fellow there is coming out for Wednesday night taco night.
Yeah.
Is that Taco Tuesdays?
There you go. Yeah.
You got it.
Nick, I added you. All of a sudden, you dropped. What happened?
Jerry, it was deer.
Yeah, because you guys got moose up there too, right?
Yep.
Never
That's
seen a
not-
fucking moose.
What?
Really?
Never. I've seen deer. I've seen deer in the Humber River. The Humber River is basically in the city of Toronto. I've seen on one bike trip 3 fucking deers in the Humber. I've never seen a moose. Seen turkeys. Seen turkey vultures. Seen a hawk. Well, see all kinds of hawks, owls. Oh, pheasants.
Well, you've probably seen a lot of peasants on your trips, that's for sure. Because we're all peasants, most of us.
Well, yeah, pheasants are definitely in this on this app and in this country, but yeah, pheasants. I've seen a few pheasants here and there,
Yeah.
but never a fucking moose. Well, actually, never a bear. Never seen a bear. Never seen a moose. And
One of
I
these
don't-
times, fill up the gas tank, go for a ride up to Algonquin Park
Uh-huh.
for a day trip or something, and you got a real good chance of seeing both those animals, if not multiple.
Yep.
Well, I don't care to see a bear, to be honest with you, but I would like to see a moose.
Well, you want to know something?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the most dangerous animal in Canada is?
I would say a moose.
A goose.
Absolutely, the bull moose.
Yep.
Piss off a goose.
Well, I think during mating season, it's probably not a good idea.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But bears have no fear, especially grizzlies.
No, they don't.
Oh, yeah.
I had a friend of mine. He was bear hunting, and he was hiding under this big old spruce. And there was a moose came across, and the moose could smell him, didn't like him, but couldn't find him. But he still shit his pants because it was just running right around the tree where he was. And that thing was massive.
Well,
I
people
thought-
don't realize sometimes how big they can get.
Oh,
I
I just
thought
walked up and
it
seen the size of the hoof prints. It was like, holy shit.
Okay, so can I just pass some news along to you guys? So Mississauga, the city of Mississauga. I don't know if you guys if anybody knows the city of Mississauga.
Yep.
Second largest city, and I think it's the second largest city. Anyways, there's a lot of protesting going on over there. And there was a couple of guys driving around in a pickup, waving around Taliban flags. And
Really?
now there are actual Hamas supporters that are making threats to the prime minister.
Really?
Oh wow.
Yep.
Is he gonna- is
Was
he
that
gonna-
around the Dixie and Eglinton area, Alice?
It's more Highway 10 and Eglinton.
Oh, okay.
Geez, I wonder
Yeah.
if the Emergencies Act is going to be invoked for that.
Oh, you know what, Avery? If they don't, then this is an absolute fucking hypocrisy. But then again, I don't really care about that. I don't care too much for him. But
One
I'm
guy.
just
So,
Yeah.
quick question: is there a way that we can show a video on here on the live?
of that, what happened in Mississauga?
Well, no, not Mississauga, but what was even happening earlier today in Ottawa?
Well, apparently
Uh,
Calgary was bad.
One of the I don't want to call her an organizer or anything like that, but she's politically involved, and I seen her. She was posting live earlier on Facebook of like it seemed peaceful and everything, but to me it looked like a crowd of at least 10,000. I'm gonna say Palestinian supporters, I guess, and they were right in front of right there at Parliament Hill, and her and a few others were basically there recording it, and they had their own banners, and the one banner was basically saying Canadians have lost confidence in you or whatever, step down or whatever. I can't remember exactly what it said, but I'll see if I can figure out how to even do that. When it comes
So
to that kind of
more-
stuff, I'm still a newbie.
So the more people that get killed in Gaza, the uglier it's going to get.
Well, did you see the footage out of Egypt?
Oh, how they're bringing their troops to the borders now to suppress them from crossing over?
No, how Israel freaking blew up the bridges and everything so they can't come over to Egypt.
Holy shit, I didn't see that.
Yeah, Egypt can't get in and they can't get out.
Wow.
Israel fucking blew the shit out of the highways going out to Egypt.
So,
And then-
first question
and then they
is,
told them
those
to-
bridges
they
they
told them
blew, were they
evacuate.
their own bridges?
Well, they were Palestine's bridges, I guess, to get to Egypt.
But the thing
Well,
is,
that's sorry, go ahead, Alex.
no, I was going to say the thing is that they're telling them to evacuate.
Yeah,
And they're
but
blowing up bridges.
They blew the shit out of the roads to get out. So
Yeah,
they have to
and
get out
they're
on
telling
foot.
them they
That's
should
the only way.
evacuate.
So everybody
only
get
way you
out,
can get out
and
is
the
on
only way
foot.
you can get out, we're gonna destroy that method or that access to leave. So we're advising you to leave, but we're gonna do everything we can to not allow you to leave. That's what you're saying?
Pretty much.
Yeah, because Egypt clearly said they'll take them in while this is going on.
So I'm also curious if those bridges were like unilaterally owned between them. Did Egypt own part of those bridges?
No, it was all on the Palestine side.
Okay.
I thought Egypt was not going to take him in.
I thought
That's
that's
what
what
the
I heard
media is
last
saying.
too.
That's what the media is saying, but apparently no. I saw things from Egypt saying they weren't going to take them.
Okay. That's interesting.
How you doing?
I mean, Necktie's probably right. I mean, I mean, obviously, fucking mainstream news always lies continuously. They're pathological fucking liars.
Exactly. We never get the truth where we absolutely should be getting it. And like, just to point out also, isn't it completely odd that, especially even over the last few days, like, have we not seen more footage on what's happening with the Palestinians and everything more than what we've probably seen on Ukraine conflict over the last 6 months or damn near 2 years?
Yeah. Strange, isn't it?
We almost need to start yelling out, give us the truth. We can handle the truth.
We already know the truth.
Well, exactly. It's just once they actually start admitting the actual truth, then there's going to be forms of ways to work towards the liability end of it, accountability end of it.
You think they'll ever admit anything?
No, that's why they keep falling behind and using their corporations and their groups and their organizations as these little bullshit blankets. It's like the trick where you see on the videos there where the owner with the dog puts the blanket, and then when they drop the blanket, they disappear around the corner and the dog's there confused.
Yep.
We're the fucking dogs. Not that I'm calling anybody else here a dog. Don't take that the wrong way, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
According to this here, that Trudeau was just told to stay away from the UAE.
The United Arab Emirates.
Uninvited. Yeah. They uninvited him.
Wow.
Well, and again, you know what I mean? We look at that, and then what's that going to lead to? Look at all the international agreements with many of these different countries that have agreements, financial agreements, from farming to natural and other resources here in Canada, and then you pull things like this, and we're supposed to believe that this man is trying to represent at a peaceful level our best interests on the international stage?
Well, you know how much of Ontario's corn actually goes to China?
Nope.
Fucking massive boatloads.
Wow.
They turn it into fuel and stuff like that, and they send it back.
I know that's what they're doing with large amounts of our lumber. They're not even debarking the damn things because they can make byproducts from the bark,
Mm-hmm.
which is another big reason why a lot of those mills shut down in British Columbia.
Guys, on a separate note here, I was just looking at cities, largest cities population wise, and then I was kind of curious to look at largest cities by landmass, and I kid you not, the largest city. Brace for impact here, guys. The largest city's name is Latuke. I swear to God, on their coat of arms, they have two trees with a thunderbolt and a fucking toque at the bottom of it.
That's it? Yeah.
It is the largest landmass city in all of Canada. It's 20,000. What was it?
I know it was big, but I didn't know it was the biggest.
Where is
Yeah.
it?
In Quebec, northern Quebec, 28,000 kilometers square.
Wow.
Latuke. Isn't that hilarious? If that's not Canadian, I don't know what the fuck is.
That's it.
I think that's about an hour and a half north of Le Putin.
Okay,
Le
là, vous deux,
Putin,
là.
yeah. And the population is 11,000. It's the
Yep.
largest city with the lowest amount of people.
Collier, s'il fait assez frais, tabarnak, tu veux pas être là.
Yeah, like even where I live, it's I think the total population of my so-called city limit, town limit. You definitely can't call it city limit, but it is by far probably like if you take just the original Toronto city limits, you could probably build 20 original Torontos. Like the main GTA, you could fit in our city limits probably 4 of them.
Oh, Toronto is way down that list too. I think they're like 620 kilometers square.
Yeah,
Toronto
yeah, exactly. Like Toronto
dump.
itself, the original Toronto is actually quite small.
It's on a
Like
dump.
considering, right?
I mean,
You guys
Timmins
live on top of a dump.
Timmins is like 3 times the size of Toronto.
Oh yeah. But you might only see within a 20-minute drive, you might only see 2 or 3 houses and an open lot and 2 or 3 moose and a duck flying across the road.
I just figured out what's wrong with Toronto. It's their water. Their water system is compromised. They're built on top of a dump. That's what it is. It's the fucking water.
Well,
That's why
not to
people
be a
are so
hater, but
stupid in Toronto.
I would never even eat a fish out of Lake Ontario.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would.
Oh, there's people that do.
Yep.
No,
There
I
really
know.
is.
Yep.
I used to go actually
Used to.
to Oshawa there when the fish had started running there, and just basically for fun. And if one of the friends of one of my buddies or whatever, they're like, "Well, if you guys catch anything, if you don't want it, I'll take it." I'm like, well, okay, well, if you're gonna keep it, as long as it doesn't go to waste, right?
Yeah, I usually go and fish up towards, I used to at least, off Prescott.
Oh yeah. This
But I
spring, I'd
haven't-
like to go
My
for
best
smelt.
friend passed away, so he's the guy I used to go with.
Yeah. Sucks losing fishing buddies.
Yeah, I got a question. So Nick was mentioning the protests in Ottawa. Is Butters there?
Oh, I don't think he'd go anywhere near that crowd.
Oh, wait, he's not brave enough?
He was
I was
walking
him. I
in the
wouldn't be
woods
that
today.
stupid.
I mean,
I don't
I
know.
would go down. I would go down there. I would interact with those people.
Yeah, you're not part of the LGBT blah 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 blah.
That's true. This is true.
I don't know. I can't call it. I think anybody and anyone that was at least respectful that went down and whatever would be fine. I would hope, anyways. But they're not there for, I don't think, any other reason other than the conflict that's happening right now. That's their number one main priority, right? But
Yeah.
not to say that certain individuals with certain ideologies couldn't go in there and stir up some shit and create some hatred when people are already on edge, and then something could lead to something else.
Well,
Mm,
Keith
pretty
said,
good material.
whoever said Butters was smart, Nick died. That's why I said that. Because he's
That's
not.
why I was laughing. He was right. Oops.
Yeah, he would be brave enough to go down there and fucking and preach these people about LGBTQ and how your kids are not your property. Oh, I guess he can't say white privilege. Would he say something else? I guess I don't know.
Well, I couldn't see him yelling at these group of people, calling them bigots.
I would love
God,
to see
no.
it.
He's not that brave.
Nobody is
Well, and
stupid.
you know what? Like, not to add to insult or give the guy credit or anything like that, but I don't think he's that stupid either.
No, he's pretty stupid.
At times, I will agree. And if he was in here, like, he's actually tried to invite me. I can't even count how many times, especially over the last few weeks. One of the last debacle spectacles, or whatever you want to call it, was, and I think you've seen Alice there. He went after Beautifully Broken and said
Oh,
some
my
pretty
goodness,
ignorant
yeah.
things to her. Yeah, well, I was in the live and I was just like awestruck. Like, I know you guys have seen me a few times where maybe I should have went off on individuals, but I try to keep pretty calm, cool, collective, and respectful most times, right? But I mean, it's like we're never going to fully agree. But I mean, even if we're going to get into a heated, complete disagreement on whatever subject it is, it should never come down to the point where we're literally trying to hurt each other physically and emotionally and tear people apart and have the goal of literally tearing that individual down to where they break down. And obviously we know what happens in some cases when people have complete breakdowns. And why are people pushing just to try and win some kind of an argument or a fight or whichever? Like, it's literally hypocrisy and borderline damn well evil. And you know, it's like I get along most of the time with Butters. Like, when I have gone in and had conversations with him, a lot of times, like I've said, it's I do find his when he has his so-called posse, as you most people know him to have, they egg him on, and I don't know if it turns into a little bit of showboating or whatever it is, or he feels like he has to step up his game when certain individuals hop into the room or whatever, and he'll just let them go with their own hypocrisies or racism or whatever it is, and then try to call out many other individuals, but then in certain cases hasn't called out the others. And I mean, ultimately, you know what? When everybody has their own lives, I really don't care. As long as we're all being at least somewhat respectful towards each other in our conversations, debates, whatever we want to call them, then I'm game to hop in and talk with anybody most of the time. But I mean, we have to a certain extent, we have to keep people accountable as to for the ones we're associating with. So like, I even let Butters know, like I haven't had a real conversation since that moment with him when he did that, but he knows that I wasn't happy about it, and I'm still not happy about it. But I mean, I'm not here to try and control anyone either. All I can control is basically myself or ourselves, kind of thing, right? And if an individual, even if they're respectful with me, if they're completely prejudiced or sexist or racist or hateful or threatening towards any of you individuals or anyone else I know, well, that would literally not be guilt by association, but that would bring it to the level of making me a hypocrite of my own morals or
No, you know
anybody
what,
else, right?
No, sorry, Donnie. What they did to you was totally fucking disrespectful. Like I said, I call them a pack of hyenas. They come together and they have no interest in any sort of dialogue
Conversation or anything.
or conversation whatsoever. They're just there to lynch people.
Yeah.
And that's what fucking Butters does. And then, you know, that's why everybody, nobody can stand the guy. And well, unless you're like him, but nobody can stand the guy whatsoever. And I totally understand why. He comes into your room and, you know, first he you know, he starts pushing his fucking liberal bullshit on you. And then all of a sudden he'll start agreeing with you. But see, that's the fucking, you know, that's the trap. He sets a trap up and then all of a sudden he just reels you right in and he fucking patronizes you, right? Anyways,
Yeah, or exactly. Tries to hook you into something and then I've seen him do it too, and then he tries to label you for something or twist the narrative and
yeah.
Then he says,
gotta think there's-
oh, you're getting upset now.
Yeah. Are you triggered? Are you triggered? And it's like when people tell me that, right? I'm like, yeah. Like, why do you care if I'm triggered or not? Because I fuck. We're not here to talk about if I'm triggered. We're talking about the topic.
that's right.
He's just a shit disturber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, and even if I do go into any of the lives that he's in or he gets into a live that I'm in or anything like that, like, I'll still converse with the guy or anyone else that's going to be respectful to not just myself, but everyone else in the room as well. But I mean, at the same time, like, if he's having a live, if in the future, whatever I was to go in or into one of his lives, one, it's going to depend on what they're talking about or whatever. And B, it's also going to depend on who else is in that room, because I don't like to say I write people off, but when some people are completely ignorant, and I've seen it and witnessed it and experienced it with my own experience, my own eyes and ears and whatever, it's I can make that educated decision whether I believe that person is genuine or if they're hateful or ignorant or any of the above.
I hear you. Okay, guys, it's Sunday night. I got to get to bed. So
Yes, sir.
I want to thank you guys.
The pumpkin is turning.
Pumpkin is definitely turning. Yeah.
Well,
So you guys
it
have-
was an enjoyable live again. So
Yeah, thank you guys. It was very enjoyable.
Have a good night, everybody.
Excellent.